Have you ever looked in the mirror and asked yourself, is this really me? Not in a sad way, but in that quiet, curious way that sneaks up on you when you're brushing your teeth or fixing your hair. You catch a glimpse of the silver near your temples, the softness in your jawline, and for a moment, you pause. Maybe you see a version of yourself you didn't expect. One that's older, yes, but also wiser. One that's lived, loved, and learned, and suddenly you're standing there wondering, should I keep dyeing my hair, or is it time to just let it be? Here's the truth. This isn't just about hair. It's about something deeper. It's about identity, confidence, and choosing how you want to show up in the world from this day forward. Because right now, more and more women over 60 are making a quiet but powerful choice. They're letting go of hair dye and gaining something far more meaningful in return. This isn't about letting yourself go. It's about letting yourself grow. So if you've ever felt torn or even a little afraid to see your natural gray shine through, you are not alone. And today, we're going to talk honestly about what this journey is really about. Not just hair, but freedom, truth, and maybe even the most confident version of you yet. Let's begin. 1. The confidence factor. Gray isn't giving up, it's stepping up. There comes a moment in many women's lives, a quiet, almost invisible shift, when something clicks. It might happen while brushing your hair in the morning or catching your reflection in a shop window. You notice the silver strands, the softness in your expression, and instead of reaching for the dye, you pause. You ask yourself, what if I just let it be? At first, that thought might feel rebellious, maybe even a little scary. After all, for decades, we've been told that gray hair means we're fading, we're past our prime, we're letting ourselves go. But here's the truth that more and more women are discovering. Going gray isn't about giving up. It's about stepping up. Because when you stop hiding your natural hair color, you're not surrendering. You're standing taller. You're walking into the world without apology. You're claiming your space without needing to explain yourself. That's not weakness. That's power. Many women over 60 say that the decision to stop coloring their hair was one of the most freeing choices they've ever made, not because it was simple, but because it was honest. And when you start showing up as your real self, lines, silver, all of it, something remarkable happens. You begin to carry yourself differently. You no longer shrink to fit expectations. You stop trying to blend in and start letting yourself stand out just by being who you are. One woman shared this with me. I didn't realize how much energy I was using trying to look younger. When I stopped, I felt lighter, like I finally had permission to be me. Gray hair doesn't dull your light. It reflects it. It's not a signal that you're fading away. It's a signal that you've arrived, fully, confidently, boldly. This is not about looking older or younger. It's about looking like yourself and feeling proud of the woman you see in the mirror. Because confidence doesn't come from a bottle. It comes from within, and sometimes it starts with a strand of silver. 2. What gray hair is really about. Let's be honest. This was never just about hair. It never is. Hair holds memories. It carries pieces of our identity in every shade we've ever worn. Maybe you remember the deep brunette you loved in your 20s, the highlights you added in your 40s to feel a little brighter, or that one time you tried red just for fun. Every color told a story about who you were or who you wanted to be. So when the silver starts to show, it's not just a physical change, it's an emotional one. It asks a bigger question, who am I now? And that's where the real journey begins. Going gray is about more than stopping the dye. It's about letting go of who you thought you had to be and stepping into who you actually are. It's about no longer shaping your appearance around someone else's expectations. It's about giving yourself permission to be seen as you are today. Many women say they didn't expect the emotions that came with it. At first, there's hesitation, sometimes even grief, but underneath that, there's often relief, and then, quietly, there's pride. One woman told me, "The day I looked in the mirror and saw myself fully gray, I didn't see age, I saw peace." Because when you stop coloring your hair, what you're really doing is choosing truth over illusion. You're saying, "I'm not hiding anymore. I'm not pretending to be 35. I'm not trying to erase time. I'm showing up exactly as I am." And there is something deeply powerful in that. You're not giving up youth. You're letting go of the chase. You're not settling. You're simplifying. You're not losing beauty. You're redefining it on your terms. That's the heart of this journey. Not what's on your head, but what's happening in your heart. Gray hair isn't just a physical shift. It's an emotional arrival. And when you get there, you realize you haven't lost a thing. You've come home to yourself. 3. How to transition gracefully without losing yourself. So, you've made the decision, or maybe you're just starting to think about it. You're ready to stop coloring your hair. You want to embrace your silver. But now the question is, how? Because let's be real, the in-between stage can feel intimidating. That line where your roots meet your dyed hair, the uneven tones, the temptation to give up and reach for the dye again, it's not always easy. But it doesn't have to be overwhelming, and you don't have to figure it all out on your own. There is no one right way to go gray. The best path is the one that fits you. But here are 5 thoughtful, real-world tips to help make the transition feel less like a hassle and more like a homecoming. Tip number 1, trim with intention. Some women go bold with the big chop, cutting off the dyed hair in one go and starting fresh. Others take a slower approach, trimming a little at a time over several months. There's no rule. Just listen to your comfort level and move at your own pace. Tip number 2, blend it out. If the contrast between your roots and the rest of your hair feels harsh, talk to a stylist about blending techniques. Silver highlights, lowlights, or soft gray balayage can make the grow out look intentional, not patchy. It's not about hiding the transition. It's about softening it so you feel confident along the way. Tip number 3, adjust your hair care. Gray hair has its own personality. It can be drier, more coarse, or more prone to yellowing. Switching to purple shampoos, deep conditioners, and shine serums can help your silver look radiant, not dull. Think of it as caring for a new texture, not fixing a problem. Tip number 4, embrace the in-between. This stage doesn't have to feel like a waiting game. Play with scarves, hats, headbands, or new styles. Try a soft braid or a loose bun. A little creativity can go a long way in helping you feel put together and playful while your silver grows in. Tip number 5, speak your why. People will notice. Some may cheer you on. Others may question you. But what matters most is that you know why you made this choice. Say it out loud if you need to. I'm doing this for me. That truth becomes your anchor on days when doubt creeps in. And here's something many women discover during this stage. They start getting more compliments than ever before. Not just on their hair, but on their confidence. Because when you wear your decision with pride, people feel it. They see it, and often they admire it. This transition is not a burden. It's a transformation, one that invites you to take your time, trust your path, and remember, you're not losing yourself. You're finally letting her shine. 4, why some women still choose to dye, and that's beautiful too. Let's pause for a moment and be honest. Not every woman is ready to go gray. And that's not wrong. In fact, it's just as valid, just as powerful, and just as personal as the decision to let the silver show. Some women feel most like themselves with their chestnut brown, their honey blonde, or their deep auburn tones. That color has been part of their identity for years, maybe even decades. It's familiar. It feels like home. And for many, keeping that color isn't about hiding their age. It's about embracing their style. One woman told me, "I'm 71, and I've been a redhead since I was 20. That's me. I don't feel like I'm denying anything. I just feel more me this way." That's not vanity. That's self-expression. Hair dye can be a form of art, a ritual, even a source of control in a world that so often feels uncertain. The act of coloring your hair isn't just about appearance. It can be a way of saying, "I still care about how I show up." And that matters. There's also the practical side. Some women aren't ready for the awkward grow-out phase, or they simply don't have the time, energy, or patience for the transition process. That doesn't mean they're afraid of aging. It just means they're making a choice that works for them. And let's not forget the emotional layer. For some, gray hair can feel like a symbol of things they're not quite ready to face: loss, time passing, or changes in how the world sees them. That's real. And it deserves compassion, not judgment. What's beautiful about this stage of life is that we finally get to choose. Not based on pressure or expectation, but based on what feels true for us as individuals. Whether that means letting your roots grow out or touching them up every few weeks, the power is in the decision being yours. There is no hierarchy, no better or worse. No one path to authenticity. You might go gray today and go back to coloring next year. Or you might color now and decide to embrace silver in 5 years. That's the beauty of it all. Aging doesn't have to be linear. It can be fluid, flexible, and uniquely your own. Because in the end, it's not about gray versus dyed. It's about truth versus pressure. And the most beautiful thing you can do is choose the path that makes you feel most alive. No apologies, no explanations, just you, being fully you. 5. The gray hair movement is real, and you belong in it. If you've been wondering whether you're alone in this journey, let me tell you something important. You're not. In fact, you're part of something much bigger than you might realize. All around the world, women are reclaiming their gray, not as a sign of surrender, but as a statement of pride. They're showing up online, on magazine covers, in everyday life saying, "This is me, take it or leave it." And more often than not, the world is choosing to take notice. They call themselves the Silver Sisters, a growing community of women who have chosen to stop apologizing for growing older. Some started graying in their 30s. Others waited until their 60s, 70s, or even 80s. But they all share one powerful thing. They've made peace with who they are, and they're proud to be seen. You may have seen them, celebrities like Andie MacDowell walking the red carpet with silver curls, or Jamie Lee Curtis rocking her iconic pixie cut. But this movement isn't just happening in Hollywood. It's in the grocery store, the yoga class, the family barbecue. It's in every woman who stands a little taller when she finally lets go of the dye. And here's the truth. When one woman embraces her natural self, she gives silent permission for others to do the same. There's power in visibility. There's beauty in being seen exactly as you are. And there is deep strength in standing together, even quietly, and saying, "I no longer feel the need to disappear." For decades, the message to women was clear. Stay young, stay quiet, stay small. But that message is breaking down. Because more and more women are deciding they don't want to go back. They don't want to chase someone else's idea of beauty. They want to live in their own skin, fully and freely. You don't need to be famous. You don't need 1 million followers. You just need the willingness to show up as yourself. And once you do, you might be surprised at how many women will look at you and say, "If she can do it, maybe I can too." This isn't just a personal choice. It's part of a collective shift. And whether you've already gone gray or you're just thinking about it, you're already part of the story. You belong here, silver strands and all. 6. Silver style. How to look chic, elegant, and modern. Let's talk about something that doesn't get said nearly enough. Gray hair can be absolutely stunning. Not just good for your age. Not just respectable. Truly, undeniably beautiful. Chic, sophisticated, bold, and yes, even sexy. The idea that gray equals dull or lifeless, that's not your truth. That's outdated messaging from a beauty industry that sold us the idea that youth was the only currency we had. But look around today, and you'll see a very different story unfolding, one that's being written by women just like you. Silver hair has presence. It has personality. It catches the light in a way that turns heads and makes people look twice, not because it's shocking, but because it's striking. There's something about a woman who owns her silver that makes her unforgettable. She doesn't just walk into a room, she claims it. And the key to unlocking that feeling? Style. When you let go of dye, your hair becomes a blank canvas, a fresh start. Suddenly, color and cut matter in a whole new way, not because you're trying to impress anyone, but because you're now building your look around something authentic. And that's powerful. Let's begin with the haircut. Once you're no longer using color to create dimension or express personality, your cut becomes the storyteller. A sharp bob can say modern and refined. A tousled pixie says confident and fun. Soft waves and long silver strands? That's timeless beauty with a whisper of romance. Even a clean buzz cut can radiate strength and elegance. What matters is intention. A purposeful cut frames your face, brings attention to your best features, and gives your silver the stage it deserves. Work with a stylist who understands gray hair texture, because silver often has more body, more volume, and sometimes a little more rebellion. It moves differently than dyed hair, and when handled well, that's exactly what makes it shine. Next, let's talk color, specifically how to dress around gray. Here's something women often discover. Once their hair goes silver, their old wardrobe doesn't pop the way it used to. That's because gray is a neutral base, like platinum blonde or cool ash. It invites contrast, and when done right, that contrast creates magic. Jewel tones like emerald, sapphire, and ruby add richness. Crisp white brightens your complexion. Deep navy adds structure and sophistication. Even bold colors like red or magenta can turn a simple outfit into a statement when paired with silver strands. Avoid wearing shades that match your hair too closely, unless you're going for monochrome on purpose. Too much gray or beige can wash you out. Instead, bring balance with warmth in your makeup or brightness in your accessories. Speaking of makeup, this is where many women rediscover their playful side. With gray hair, your features take center stage. Define your brows, try a berry or coral lip, add a touch of bronzer or a soft pink blush to bring warmth and life to your face. Even a bold pair of glasses or earrings can elevate your entire look. And here's a fun truth. Many women report that once they stop coloring their hair, they start experimenting more, not less. Because they feel free. They're no longer chasing an idea of youth. They're building something new, something exciting, something that feels true to who they are now. Style becomes less about blending in and more about standing out in the best possible way. Confidence, of course, is the final ingredient. Without it, silver hair can feel like a compromise. But with it, silver becomes your signature. It's not about following fashion rules or trends. It's about creating a look that feels like home. One that says, "This is me, I've lived, I've learned, and I'm not afraid to be seen." So if you've been worried that going gray means disappearing, think again. You're not fading, you're becoming unforgettable. You're not giving up. You're stepping into a style that reflects the woman you've always been, and you don't need permission to shine. Because silver isn't just a color, it's a statement, it's elegance, it's edge, it's all yours. 7. Gray is not fading, it's arriving. We've spent so much of our lives being told what beauty should look like. For years, the message was clear. Stay youthful, stay thin, stay quiet, stay the same. The unspoken rule? If you start to look your age, you've somehow failed. But here's the truth that so many women are finally realizing. Beauty doesn't disappear with age. It evolves. It deepens. And for many of us, it finally makes sense the moment we stop trying to go back and instead choose to move forward. Letting your hair go gray isn't about giving up. It's not a sign that you've stopped caring or that you're letting yourself go. It's a sign that you're ready to step into a version of yourself that no longer asks for permission. When you decide to go gray, you're saying, I've lived. I've earned every silver strand, and I'm not going to hide any of it. You're arriving, not into decline, but into truth. You're arriving into a season of life where you finally get to show up as the full version of who you are, not edited, not filtered, not softened to fit someone else's comfort. You're stepping into the space that's always been yours, but may have felt out of reach. Gray hair doesn't erase your value. It doesn't signal your irrelevance. It doesn't mean you've had your moment and now it's time to shrink back. In fact, it means the opposite. Because what if this is your moment? What if this is the time in your life when you get to stop chasing approval and start living from the inside out? So many women describe this stage of life not as a decline, but as a return to confidence, to clarity, to self-respect, to knowing what matters and what no longer deserves your energy. And at the heart of it all is a shift, from pleasing others to honoring yourself. That is not fading, that is rising. Gray hair, for many women, becomes a visible reminder of this change. Not a mark of what's been lost, but of everything that's been gained. Resilience, wisdom, self-trust. One woman told me, I used to color my hair because I didn't want people to treat me like I was old. But then I realized, I'm not old. I'm powerful. And when I walked out of that salon with my natural gray showing, I felt more like myself than I had in 20 years. That's the kind of confidence no product can buy. It comes from choosing yourself, again and again. Of course, that choice isn't always easy. The world still whispers that youth is everything. But every time you resist that lie, even just a little, you help change the narrative for yourself, for your daughters, for every woman watching quietly from the sidelines. You become an example, not of aging gracefully, but of aging truthfully. And that's something far more powerful, because aging isn't something to survive. It's something to embrace. It's a privilege not everyone gets. And if we're lucky, it can become our most radiant chapter yet. So, if you've been wondering whether you'll still feel beautiful, seen, vibrant, and relevant with gray hair, let me tell you this clearly. You will. Not because your hair is silver, but because your presence is strong. Your story is rich. Your light has only grown brighter. This isn't the end of anything. It's the beginning of everything that matters most. You are not fading. You are arriving, and the world is better when you do. So here we are, at the end of this conversation, and maybe at the beginning of a quiet transformation within you. We've talked about hair, yes, but more than that, we've talked about truth. The kind of truth that comes with age, with experience, and with finally being ready to live life on your own terms. Gray hair isn't a sign that you've given up. It's a sign that you've stepped into something bigger, yourself, your full self, the one who no longer chases perfection or approval, but instead walks with clarity, presence, and grace. And if you're still coloring your hair, that's okay too. The power lies in choosing what makes you feel whole, beautiful, and seen. This journey isn't about silver versus dye. It's about self-respect. So don't let anyone tell you you're fading. You're not. You're arriving. You're stepping into your own light, brighter, bolder, and more grounded than ever. You are not defined by your age. You are not invisible. You are still becoming, layer by layer, year by year, decision by decision. If this video touched you, share it with someone who needs to hear these words. Let them know they're not alone. And most of all, remember, this is your story to write. Gray, colored, short, long, bold, soft. Whatever you choose it for you. You're not fading, you're becoming. And it's beautiful to witness.